Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera to all of you. My name is Abdul bin Abdul Mubbin. I am student from Bachelor of Manufacturing Engineering Technology with honor BMMW and under Supervisor Professor Madya Dr. Zulkifli bin Muhammad Rosli. Today, I will present about my Bachelor Degree Project 1 with the title of project Material Properties Green Concrete using URTW. Okay, what is URTW? Okay, URTW stand for Unglazed Roof Tile Waste. Before we proceed to the main purpose of this presentation, I'm gonna briefly about the presentation outline, what we expect in my presentation. In chapter 1, which is introduction, I will present to you about background, problem statement, objective and scope of research. In chapter 2, which is literature review, I'm going to explain about the topic that is related to my project or my research, and I use this literature review as my guideline to do my project. Next, in chapter 3, we are focused on methodology. In the list of methodology, I will explain about the concrete mix design, crushing and grinding URTW, grading or sieve analysis of URTW, and the strength test of product. In chapter 4, which is preliminary result, we will present about an expected result on estimate result, analysis of fine aggregate, and estimate result and analysis of compressive strength. Okay, we continue with chapter 1. The background study or the idea of project every building sector will confront a crisis of solid waste management issue in construction site, especially in developing countries such as in Asia. Second, according to the Foronato Torreta in 2019, the primarily consequence of waste mishandling in developing nations with an emphasis on environmental pollution and socio-economic difficulty. Third point is some initiative undertaken by the research to solve this problem by conducting extensive research, study hypothesis and developing hypothesis to provide data that can assist in resolving environment threat. And the last point for the background, according to the Glavin in 2009, by implementing numerous green solutions as well as the fact the both improved concrete mix design and structure design contribute to this reduction. Next, we go to the problem statement section, and there are 2 points for the problem statement. And the first, the usage of river sand as one of the component in concrete would harm the river environment, and this is quite concerning because it can make the river to become shallow. Second point is solid waste management. Will have difficulty in manage solid waste, especially damaged roof tile that have become waste. Based on the background and problem statement that I have mentioned before, I have come up with a few of objectives. First objective is to replace river sand to URTW as one of the material in concrete. Second, to transform the URTW into fine aggregate by crushing and grinding process according to the British standard. And third, to assess the material properties of the produced green concrete based on URTW. Then we continue with the scope of research. There are 3 points that I put down here, and the first point of the scope of research is to produce fine aggregate to replace sand river based on URTW material by grading method. Net. The second point is to produce green concrete using URTW following British standard. And the last point for scope of research is to investigate the material properties of green concrete by conducting destructive testing like compressive testing and splitting tensile testing. Now we are reaching to the second part of my presentation, which is chapter 2. In this chapter, more focus on literature review that I using this research knowledge as my guideline to my project. By referring to the table on my slide, I have shown out 3 research that relate to my objective. So the first one is by Lee.Z in 2011. He told that concrete is the one of the world's oldest and most widely used building material. To determine the hardness of concrete, he used the compressive testing, modular fracture testing, and water absorption to test the fresh concrete properties. The outcome come out with improved strength, durability, and visibility during this construction of the structure. What I can conclude from this research is concrete is a brittle, high compressive strength material with low tensile strength. Okay, next we go to the second research by Echeverria and Vegas in 2015. He told that ceramic was used as a fine aggregate. How to determine the mechanical or material property of the concrete? He used the same thing like Lee.Z. He used the compressive testing, modular fracture testing, and water absorption. The outcome from the research, the product are improved in terms of height cohesion. Surface area play an important role in the workability in concrete. As a conclude, they are focused on the impact of fine ceramic. Last research by Khajuria and Sharma in 2019, they told that plastic was used to replace the fine or delicate aggregate. They use the same method like both previous research in this testing two product. The outcome of this research, plastic has weak bond capacity. The characteristic of the plastic will affect the concrete. As a conclude, the uniformity of fine aggregate size will have a large effect compared to the coarse aggregate size. We are reaching to the third part of this presentation, where I'm going to explain about the method that I will going to use in this project. First one is concrete made design is where the proportion of each component in the concrete is calculated and must be in accordance with the British standard. So here is the flowchart of the concrete made design on how it is will actually done. Okay, so we are moving to the second section of methodology in this presentation, which is crushing and grinding URTW. There is 3 stage or 3 phase of crushing and grinding URTW. This process we use 3 different machine in every stage. For the first stage and or first phase of the crushing and grinding URTW, we will use crushing machine to crushing the URTW to become a small size. After we use crushing machine in stage 1, we continue with grinding process, which is we will use grinding machine to get a better size than before. The last step for the crushing and grinding URTW, we will use a planetary bore milling machine to get proper right size for fine aggregate. With the help from 3 different type of machine, we will achieve the appropriate fine aggregate size range specified by the British Standard Guideline. Okay, URTW is the main raw that I'm going to use to produce the new green concrete. The reason why I use 3 different type of machine that we receive the raw material this particular company in a big and a large piece of roof tile. After URTW crushing and grinding, the next process is sieve analysis and particle distribution. Gradation describe how different size of aggregate are displayed according to the particle size. Gradation or particle size distribution relate to the proportion by mass or weight. The first picture in my slide showing the crush URTW will be replaced in the sieve container of vibration sieve shaker machine. The second picture showing the crush of the URTW in the process for at least 10 minutes, and the last picture is the retained aggregate according to the size after the sieve process. The strength of the hardened concrete are determined by doing compressive strength test. Using a hydraulic press compressive machine, a compressive strength test will be performed. The maximum load that concrete can withstand is generally specified by its strength. Then I'm going to continue with chapter 4, which is this chapter I will present about the preliminary result. The preliminary result predict and preliminary analysis find based on the methodological approach in chapter 3, which will be explored in depth, particularly the variation in the characteristic of the material before and after experiment. The information and analysis gathered will serve as a guide or provide some insight into what to expect in the following phase of the research study in order to meet the study objective. This is the estimate result and analysis of fine aggregate. The first batch group, based on the result in figure, employs a planetary ball milling machine with a speed of 280 revolution per minute, and it is at the top and lower limit. The pass rate of the second batch group, however, was 35.69% at 0.15 mm size, above the grading maximum limit of 50%. Because the size of number of small particles can greatly alter after mechanical and material properties of concrete, this experiment will be repeated to confirm that URTW results are accurate within the bottom and height range. Now we continue with the estimate mid design proportion with 0, 10 and 50% of URTW material. As you can see, there are the material how to make a concrete. Start from the cement, fine aggregate, which is sand river, coarse aggregate, gravel, water, and URTW powder that we get from 3 stages of crushing and grinding process. This is the estimate result and analysis of compressive strength. There are 3 samples of 0, 10 and 15% of URTW material. Each sample of different percent will have 3 different concrete age, which is day. In the table, the result will be different in weight, maximum load, density, strength and average strength. I think that is all from me about my presentation about this project, material properties green concrete using URTW. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.